Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybeck.
And if you are listening to our show, it is now available on YouTube. You can watch it. Go to youtube.com/otherpeopleslives to do that.
Yeah, and today I think let's just get right into it. There's no real small talk around a topic like this. We have our guest on the line, and the topic is I like to be hurt during sex. So can you sort of just give us an explanation of, what that really means?
So basically anything involving sex or anything sexual in that realm, for me to get pleasure, there has to be some form of pain involved. That can go from any form of degree. And yeah, I mean, it can also be like mental abuse to some sorts, but other than that, there just has to be like a certain form of pain involved.
What do you mean by mental abuse?
So I used to be in a relationship where there was mental abuse involved in the having sex with physical. So the words that were said to me were very demeaning and derogatory, and I got off on that. I've kind of toned it back with the relationship that I'm in now, but that used to be a very big part. It's kind of like a typical dominant and submissive type of situation, but on an extreme level.
Yeah, so that's what I want to point out because, you've listened to the show before. So in the email when you reached out, you were aware that we've touched on BDSM and things like that before. I think even, humiliation we've talked about. And people have kind of dabbled in the areas of pain or violence sounds extreme, but, but yeah, we've never really kind of dove into this on a deeper level. And, your email had some really attention-grabbing, I guess, examples of the way that you like to be hurt. So I guess when you say on an extreme level, can you kind of let the people know exactly what you mean?
So basically, I say it's like a normal dom-sub relationship because that's all that I use and all that I know, but I guess that it's not normal for a lot of people. But whenever I say normal, did you like that? And something along those lines, but it got to the point where I was being told that you can't get off without me. That was something that was told to me. There was along the lines of you can't do any better than me. I mean, this was all agreed and consented upon, but it would be to the point of you're just absolutely disgusting and nobody else would want to do this with you. But it was to the point where it was I just devoted all of myself to my partner, so that just made me want to please them even more. But I'm the type of person to get off on pleasure, so it just was kind of it was just kind of a very cohesive relationship that I had with somebody to want to be talked down to. And then it was quite a conversation to try and get that topic going with my partner, but yeah.
I was gonna ask that, how do you kind of introduce that, especially with a new partner? You don't know what they're really into, so how do you kind of work that in?
So I don't really know necessarily. I am very blunt and very very forward with what I want, and I can kind of tell whenever a guy gets not squeamish, but off put by what I said. And there was just a guy, ironically enough, Tinder. I mean, it didn't work out, so it's not a secret love story, but I was very forward, and then he was very forward back, and then it kind of we liked the same thing, and it ended up that was the starting point of me realizing that pain had to be involved in sex for me to really enjoy it.
So can you give some examples of the physical aspect of the pain?
This is actually, people don't believe me whenever I say this, but usually 8 times out of 10, every single time that I get slapped on the face, I orgasm almost immediately. So it involves getting hit. It involves my my tits getting hit, my ass, stuff like that. Everything in that below region, my face, my hair being pulled, choking, almost anything that would seem like threatening in a way, like sexually, that's something that like it's like a instant turn on. So yeah.
I mean, do you actually like so someone if someone like slaps you in the face, you orgasm?
During sex in general.
No, I mean like, obviously during sex,
Yeah.
not like walking down the street, but like
Because someone just slaps me. No, but yeah.
I mean, maybe.
yeah, I don't know,
Like,
yeah.
experience. No, but so yeah, usually I mean it's not like automatic if it's like 5 or 10 minutes in. It's usually like during throughout. But yeah, I mean usually don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm an on and off switch that it can just happen. But 8 times out of 10, yeah, like if I'm quote unquote like warmed up enough and if the mood has been set well enough, then yeah, like that, like my partner knows that that's kind of what happens. So like as soon as like he's ready for me to orgasm, he'll hit me, and it's that just instant sting, and I just kind of feel the most submissive in that point of time that it just kind of happens, if that makes sense.
I
How
think it does.
hard are we talking here? Because I always wondered, like, people who really
Slap
incorporate physical pain. Yeah, like, I think, okay, I've played around with some quote-unquote choking little slaps, but are we talking, like, a hard slap?
Yeah, are we talking
So-
like reprimanding a child's kind of slap?
Well, in, like, the 50s.
In the 50s, yeah. No, but like, so for example, like out of all total times, like in the past probably 2 years, my face has probably been bruised like 6 times out of like during intercourse. Like it kind of looks like stripes on my face because like the negative space between the fingers. So
Damn,
yeah,
he
like,
slapped the shit out of you then.
and I liked it. I know.
I didn't even know you could bruise a face with a slap until
Yeah,
right
I
now.
have pictures, and I showed like my friend, and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "It's fine. Yeah, I'm."
You were like,
good."
that was just the greatest orgasm of my life.
you wouldn't even like believe me whenever I'd be like, "This was the best thing ever. I had such a great time." Like after I just got completely like abused. Yeah, I know.
So I mean, is that typical though? Like you walk away with bruises. I mean, it's a battle in there.
Out of say out of like 10 times, I probably have bruises like maybe 6 or 7 out of the 10. No, more like 6 times, because it's like not everything is always like just this like setup thing that you have all the time in the world, but yeah, whenever there's like an option for it to be loud enough for a slap to happen without somebody thinking that he's abusing me without my consent, then yeah.
Wow.
Wow. When you really stop and think about that, the imprint of a hand on your face with the space between the fingers. Like
It's gnarly. Yeah, it gets purple and like my blood vessels break, so it looks like I have like somebody went in like with a tiny needle and like put a whole bunch of dots. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
What do you tell people that are like, what happened?
So I you know what, it's different every time. I come up with like really good excuses. I was like dog sitting one time, and I was visiting with my mom, and she was like, "Oh, like what happened to your face?" And I go, "Oh, the dog, like it got scared because of thunder, and it like
Slapped me in the face.
it just bitch slapped me." No, like I was like, "Oh, like I was leaning down and it bumped me," and like like you just make it up as I'm really good with that quick stuff. So there's never been like a specific, and also like makeup is a thing too. So yeah,
I will say, I mean, we're going places with this conversation because based on your email, we've just scratched the surface, but no pun intended, but
Just slap
like
the surface.
already,
we just smacked the surface. That's all.
but already, I mean, there's levels to this. Like it's
Dude, that's a major slap. That's like
Yes.
my life's on the line. I need to defend myself slap.
It's not only just like a one time too. Like sometimes like he'll do it 3 times in a row or 4 times in a row. Like it's a very like in the moment, like in the in the heat of the moment type of situation. Like we feed off of each other and stuff like that. But there's a lot of trust that goes into it too. So
No, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I totally understand it too. Like I totally get like the animalistic like
it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm
It's
saying.
raw.
We-
Yeah, it's
people-
very raw and
But people understand, but that's why I'm saying there's levels. People understand it, and so many of us do incorporate it to an extent. But I don't think most of us have ever truly pushed the boundaries of pain. Like,
Yeah.
I'll feel like a savage if I like make an ass a little red with a few slaps. Like, and that's like, whoa, is this okay? But this is actually, you know, like, I think there's one thing with the act of doing it, of like, oh, my arms are around your throat, oh, I'm slapping a little bit, and like, people definitely explore that, but no, but it's just interesting, like, this level of you're not in it for the look of this. This is like the pain. It's what this slap actually feels like on my face, and that's where I'm deriving pleasure from.
Yeah, and like people are always like, oh, well, like, do you involve toys and stuff? And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's fun, but like, if you really know how to find those little quirks about yourself that you can incorporate with your partner, then it's like pure bliss whenever you get to figure it out, you know?
So, I mean, you know, now that we've covered the whole slapping aspect of this, I mean, we could dive into choking, I guess. Like, are you like passing out during sex also?
I have passed out, I want to say 2 or 3 times maybe, but it's like, so there's 2 different types of choking, and I didn't know this until I started like exploring. So there's like your windpipe choking, and then there's also like the pressure on your bloodstream choking. So like, hey, tips if you guys want to try, but like, if you squeeze just your fingers and you don't put pressure on like their throat, then you're just putting pressure on like the bloodstream on the sides, and that gives like a lot more of like a euphoric feeling for a girl. But then again, like, you can also like stop the breath, and like you can stop breathing and stuff like that, and that I play in both of those, and it just kind of, yeah, I mean, it just depends, but I have passed out from like the loss of breath, but it just kind of is fun. So
All right. I was like joking, and she's like, yeah, no, yeah, passing out, like, for sure,
yeah,
passing
no,
out.
I have, like, don't get me wrong, it's not common because, you know, it's not safe, but yeah, I mean, breath play is like an actual kink. So
That is a term I just learned today.
Breath play.
yeah, it's like I think it has like, it incorporates the word like asphyxiation with it, but trust me, I'm not dying. Nobody's dying, but like, it's like if you know, Google it or something, but yeah.
So in that sense, in being submissive in the case of breath play, is it just the idea of somebody controlling your breath, or I guess essentially having your life in their hands?
That seems so extreme, but I mean, yeah. I guess like the whole act of absolutely everything I do is primarily like just that I am at my most vulnerable state, and that is a form of like my most vulnerable state. So I would say like yes, because I mean, just having my ability to breathe at somebody's like literal fingertips is very hot to me, I guess you can say.
All right.
Sounds hot and scary.
Yeah.
It was at first, yeah, but I mean, you know, like the trust and everything comes into play, and also like if you are intimidated with like breath and everything, like the whole like the choking without playing with breath is also a thing. Like cutting off like that mainstream circulation on the sides of your neck, like that also gives a really good feeling too, and that's what I started with, and then it kind of, you know, it's like steps, and then you get to the top and you're like, this is fucking amazing.
All right, what else is on the list? There's blood. We haven't covered blood yet.
Well, I was going to ask that because that's part of pain, and I've heard of people like cutting each other during sex, and like,
Okay,
there's
yeah,
blood
no, none
everywhere.
of that. There's none of that.
That's a different.
It's
Okay.
a different
So
thing,
no
yeah.
blood.
Well, there has been, and it's only been like a few times. I mean, do you mean to just jump right in?
Yeah, dude, it's
Okay,
cannonball.
Sure. I think we're past that a little bit, but so basically, do you guys know what caning is?
No.
Oh, wait. Is it like a stick of
Yeah,
sorts?
basically, it's like a really, really thin stick. So, have you guys ever watched like American Horror Story? Because
Yes.
they cane like whenever they have when they're in the asylum, I think. But basically, it's just like a really, really thin stick or pole, and like the thicker it is, the less it hurts, but the thinner it is, the more it hurts, you know. And it was like a repetitive caning session, and I mean, if you continue to bruise the surface, blood, you know, happens. So it was like that was probably the most that my one of the times that my limits have been pushed almost to like the very edge that I couldn't have taken anymore. But like it's not something that I like shoot for, you know what I mean? Like I never like, yeah, make me bleed, let's just fucking go. It's never that. It's more of like a, oh, that happened, and then you move on.
Was that even like, were you guys even having sex? Because I feel like you can't beat someone with a cane and have sex with them at the same time.
That would be so dangerous. No, but so like it was like the leading up. So are you guys like well versed in edging at all? Do you
Yes,
guys know?
I do
Okay.
know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That was so eager. No, but like, so I was edged for like, just edged to the very edge, you guess you could say, and I was denied as soon as I was about to orgasm, and that happened for almost like a month of a time. And then the like night that I was able to finally orgasm and we were going to have sex, that is whenever he caned me, and then after like blood was drawn, that's whenever we had sex.
Wait, did you say a month?
Hold.
A month of edging?
He edged you for a month and then beat you with a
Yeah.
cane,
Yeah.
and then you orgasmed.
Well, not from the caning, it was afterwards, but yeah, so it was just like
It's like a TV series, and that was the finale.
today was an episode. Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, it was a month worth of teasing and like edging, and he would basically snap his fingers, and then I would play with myself, and then as soon as I was about to go, then I would stop, and then that's just kind of how it went. And then he would, play with me, and then as soon as he could tell that I was getting close, then he would stop, and that happened for a month.
What was that final, like, finally I can orgasm right now? What was that like?
I don't remember it.
So it was that good.
It was that I don't remember it. And then he looked at me and he was like, my ears, after everything was done, he was like, my ears hurt so bad. And I was like, what? Why? He goes, you screamed so loud. I was like, I don't even remember that happening. So
We should be interviewing your neighbors. That would make for an interesting
how
episode.
many times I almost pressed like 911.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
an intense fucking
Yeah, it was-
month-long edging. I thought edging was like
Well, it
15
can be.
minutes.
Yeah, it can be, but it just depends on how far your partner wants to push you, or vice versa. Like, I've only done like 2 or 3 days, but it just depends on how intense, like, them leading you up to it, if that makes sense. Like, you could do it for just 2 hours, and then as soon as that happens, it's amazing. But I mean, a whole month worth, that's a decent amount of time.
Yeah,
so.
I'm surprised you're alive still, honestly. Like,
I am too. You would have no idea how I could not be able to move.
yeah, I can only imagine what that must have been like.
It was.
I can't believe you're alive.
Fucking, that's crazy. A month.
Whoa. Okay, so you did make a note in your email that it's obviously different. Like, we've spoken to someone who's in a master-slave relationship. We've spoken to someone with like a daddy who controls their life. But with you, does this type of play fit into your life outside of, I guess, the bedroom, you could say? Or is this just kind of purely during sex?
So, my prior relationship, it ended up being that, like, it was more of like an everyday outside of the bedroom type of situation. And then it just ended up not working out between him and I. I mean, that could have been part of it. It was just, we kind of, it just didn't work out. But with the relationship I'm in now, it's literally a normal relationship. Like, you would look at us and think that we're just, two normal people. But as soon as, behind closed doors, it's like it's like a zoo. It's like a whole other situation. So, yeah. I mean, I've tried it before, but it's just not, I got shit to do in my everyday life. Like, I don't have time to try and figure that whole thing out with somebody. But like, as soon as, he like looks at me or in a certain way, or like pulls my hair in a certain way, then it's, go time.
Hell yeah.
All right, going down my list of notes, by the way, just say slaps, blood. I have vomit here. I'm just gonna let you run with that one. I don't even have a question. It's vomit ?
Vomit ? Okay. Basically, it didn't happen for too long, but so what happened was there was like a few drinks in my system, and we ended up, I was blowing him, and we ended up, it was to the point where, like, basically, unless I show him a sign that I need to stop, I don't stop. And he looked at me that night and he was like, "We're gonna test on how far I can go." Mind you, this was consented because I know it sounds like I'm drunk and I can't control myself, but he was like, "We're gonna go as far as we can," and then I ended up puking, and then he like looks at me and he was like, "You're fucking disgusting," and then he slaps my face, and then we continue like during it, and then I had to stop because we had to like clean it up because I just couldn't. But then that ended up being a thing that we like started practicing. Not I don't yeah, I guess we can say practicing, but I would go, and then we would go until I ended up puking. It was all very sanitary. Nothing was like disgusting, trust me, but it sounds gross. But I ended up like puking, and then we would like take care of everything, and that happened probably about like 4 or 5 times, and then like the relationship ended, so it didn't continue. But it would be just like the epitome of like I have no control over myself, and I had to kind of like accept that. So
So, okay. I mean,
What is coming anymore? Like, you're ending this with vomit.
yeah, I mean, but it wasn't a thing where we were like, "Oh, we have to like get off to this." Like, it wasn't like that. It was more of like this is really cool, and you're getting pushed as far as you could go, and that's kind of how it happened. Like, it wasn't a thing that we made it a point to do. It was like we could try this, and then that's kind of how far it went. That was the other time where I got like pushed. It was just kind of to the point where it was out of my comfort zone, you know. And on top of it, like, it's just not an appealing smell or look or anything like that. But it was just kind of showed on how vulnerable I would have to be to him, and that is what made it extremely, extremely hot to me. So that's why I like dabbled in it a little bit.
so you enjoyed the vomit play. I don't know if that's the right term.
I didn't enjoy necessarily vomiting because it's just, no, it's gross.
Yeah.
But like the feeling of like pure like vulnerability is what I liked, if that makes sense. It's a very like mind game type of situation, and I had to like take many days to try and like figure out my head of as why I like this kind of stuff. But it's like whenever you just kind of understand that, you're like, all right, I just like being literally in the palm of someone's hand. That's whenever it goes further, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, vomiting is not fun. Like, it's nothing I would try and do again. But I mean, you know, you cross it off your list and then you move on.
I love how I just
You cross it off your list and then you move on. I love that.
yeah, I was going to say, I love how the first time you vomit, his reaction isn't to stop, it's to slap you in the face and call you disgusting.
I know. Well, that's
But it makes so much sense to me now.
yeah, it's another part where it's like that was a lot of the mental abuse too, because it was like I would be treated basically like if you heard the type of stuff, you would think that he hated me, but it was the type of it was such like a mutual thing that it was in a different headspace too, like because that was with like my past partner, but that was like as submissive as I come. It was bordering that master slave relationship that you guys ended up talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a whole bunch right there, to be honest.
Joe, I want to ask you,
Go ahead.
what's the farthest you've gone with pain?
Oh, I want to hear this.
What's the furthest I've gone with pain?
Yeah.
I mean, like inflicting pain?
Yeah.
I
Or receiving,
I don't
receiving,
think I've
or-
inflicted a whole bunch of pain. And honestly, I don't appreciate you putting me on the spot after someone just told us that they're getting hit with sticks.
I'm not
Now
saying
I'm
you have
going to
to
look ridiculous.
You just go outside and look for a stick. This is it.
Yeah, now I got to make up a story about how I had like a bludgeon or something.
No, I'm not like I'm not like challenging you. It made me think of one time. This wasn't me inflicting, but I'm trying to think of receiving pain. I've done the all right, there's like candle wax type of thing. Which is a cool feeling, but I don't know. I wasn't able to take that seriously. But once I was with someone a long time ago, and their thing was to pinch my nipples really hard.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But I didn't know. Me now would have been able to
Nerps? Purple nurples?
pretty much, yeah.
The whole time?
not the whole time, but it was like made it a point to do it every time.
Was she a dominant person?
No, I actually, not that I would think, like in normal life.
Yeah, like
It wasn't like, yeah, I mean, it hurt. I don't know. I've like nothing profound to say about it because I was younger.
I've never dealt with anyone who tried to inflict any pain or me. Like, I've never like gone a crazy. I don't have a dog in this fight is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not like out here. Like, obviously there's the slapping and choking and whatever. Like, that's one thing, but that's a very basic, whatever. I feel like everyone's doing that, and maybe there's levels to that and like how hard you slap someone or how hard, whatever. But, it's never been like slapping the shit out of someone in the face or anything like that. I think it's been like a very a basic kind of mix,
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, same here. There's nothing wrong with
having
that.
this conversation. I totally understand it. And if I was a guy and a girl was like, you know what, I really want you to hit me in the face. Like, I mean, I could hit her. I'd hit her. Like if she wanted me to, I could do it. Like, it's not like I'm like not into it. Like, I get it, and I could definitely get myself in that space where you're like, you want to get like animalistic and like just be like, oh, but like,
yeah.
So I understand. The vomiting though, that one
yeah.
would have to be jeez, I'd be like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's definitely not for me like anymore, but in the time it made sense, but it's the whole idea of just inflicting or receiving pain, it's a very like raw topic and a very like raw emotion that you have whenever it's happening. So
Gotcha.
So what is the term for this? Like, I know BDSM. Is this just kind of a focus on masochism or like the masochist aspect of it?
I wish I could tell you. That's why in my email I didn't like focus on just BDSM or like I enjoy having like a sadism happening to me. Like it's I don't know. Like that's why I just sent in the email and I said I like to be hurt during sex. That's kind of all I can really give, because I would say BDSM, but BDSM is, you can dive so deep into that, and there is so much involved in that, and there's like rope play in there, and there is, it goes very far, but I mean, I don't know, I just like to be hurt during sex, I guess.
Is there anything that you're like, no fucking way?
This is very gross, but defecating is like it's not very common, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
I have, at first I was like ew to like the whole like pee play and everything, but that actually sounds like really cool, and I'm actually going to talk to my partner about that. But the vomiting would have to be like a big old no now. I think it was like a different mindset whenever I tried it, but now I can say I don't like it, But I would say like defecating and vomiting are two things that I just could not dabble in anymore at all.
No puke, no poop. Those are those are good
puke,
rules.
No poop. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything else, we can dabble in. Other than that, that's a big old no for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. This is just very interesting. Do you think you could just like moving forward, if your current relationship didn't work out, do you think that you could just like if there was a dude who just wasn't into it and was like, no, I feel bad, you're so beautiful, I don't want to hit you, and you were like could you still be in a relationship like that, or do you feel like this is going to be a part of you forever?
It will be a part of me forever. I could answer that like almost immediately. Because my boyfriend now, in the very beginning, he was like exactly on how you said that. Like, you're just too pretty. I can't do it. Like, it's not how I was raised. And I'm like, if you don't fucking hit me, I can't do this. And it's like escalated now. But I couldn't see myself having sex without there being pain involved. Because it's like in the beginning of you and I talking, I would say, like all of us talking, I was saying like, just like the normal hitting and choking. But like to me, that's very normalized in my sexual appeal, So I guess if that intensity like isn't existent, it's not something where I can be like, oh yeah, sweet, like this is awesome. Like I just can't. There has to be some form of pain, whether it's like hitting or choking or like I'm not gonna be pinching guys' nipples like Greg, but I like my
I don't pinch guys' nipples.
no, but like there has to be some form of like uncomfortability involved for me. And I guess that kind of sounds really messed up, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a deal breaker.
No, I mean, we've had so many conversations, I think, within this realm that it does not sound strange. I mean, yes, these stories are extremely interesting to us and they seem foreign, obviously, from what we practice, but, I get it. It's just kind of just more of an intense focus on that aspect. And obviously, seems like you take safety into consideration and, know what you want and know what your boundaries are, and you're not doing anything without consent. So, it really makes perfect sense.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, if there's not like trust involved too, then it's just not worth it, because you can't fully like delve into how you feel about things. And like, if I know that if I didn't trust my partner, or if I didn't feel like that epitome of just vulnerability, then I couldn't let myself go, if that makes sense. And I couldn't truly enjoy it. But since like trust is involved, and it's, it's just like a cakewalk now.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything that, you would say? You've kind of touched on it throughout this conversation, but, in terms of, I guess, advice for someone who is having trouble communicating this desire and want to their partner.
Yeah. Well, like if I could dabble on this really quick, there is like a huge superstition over it that basically if anybody's listening, like if you guys want to dabble in this, like you're not demeaning your feminine side. You're not, like if you want to be a feminist, but delving into pain and being vulnerable isn't something that you should be afraid of or that you think is demeaning you as a woman. It's very fun, and just because you're going to be having pain inflicted on you doesn't mean that you can't still be like that strong woman that you want to be or that you are. But to like talk to somebody about it, just be so open, and honestly, your needs come first. And if they're not willing to give it, then find somebody that is. That's kind of my biggest advice.
Well said. Well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing all this. I mean, this is, very personal things.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
I had to get the approval first. I had to be like, hey, you sure I'm okay with doing this?
We appreciate you, coming on and sharing it, because it's definitely, there's a lot of people, like I said, I mean, we agreed to this earlier that everyone kind of, dabbles in like the slapping, choking thing. Mm-hmm. But there's obviously levels to this, and you are, up there.
You're LeBron, basically.
Yeah, yes.
You're Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
Deep dived into that realm, you could say.
Yes, exactly. You've explored most of the land. So we appreciate you coming on. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, we really do. It's this type of honesty that makes the show. So, thank you. And we hope you experience a lot of pain in the future.
It's a lot more fun than you think. I highly recommend it.
Well, my nipples think otherwise, but
no.
I agree. It's
feel pain. You need to get that checked.
I should sue if that was the case. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
Before we get to our final thoughts, we do have a sponsor for today's show, which is Honey. And Honey is a free online browser extension that you just download, and then it helps you find the best promo codes or coupons to save you money on whatever you're buying. And it works with stores like, Amazon, Sephora, or wherever. You go on Nike, sometimes you get some good promo codes. I know I've been on Amazon before, and it just automatically applies to your cart. Got like 15% off. It's been saving people tons of money. They have over 17 million users, and they've saved their users over $2 billion in total, okay? And it's very easy to download. It's also free. So in a sense, when you're shopping online, which we're doing a lot of during the quarantine, it makes sense to have a free browser extension that's going to find you deals, okay? So if you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free money, to be honest with you, okay? It's literally free and installs in a few seconds, and you get it by going to joinhoney.com/OPL. Okay, that is joinhoney.com/OPL. Again, it is free. It's very simple. Takes no time at all to download, and it saves you money. Okay, once again, joinhoney.com/OPL. Well, that was an episode. That was definitely an episode, for sure it was. Didn't expect the vom there at the end, to be honest.
No, I didn't expect a lot of that. I was
not a whole lot of pain in vomiting, but I get it.
What? Throwing up is I mean, okay, maybe not traditional pain, but for me it is. Oh,
dude,
I cry when I throw up.
She said that she got slapped so hard that you could see the fingerprints on her face. I don't think anyone's been slapped that hard in their life. That's crazy.
Also,
dude, do you know what that means? That's literally like fucking cocking back and slapping. That must have been something, man. And honestly, you know what? Good for her, because she constantly, like this, you know what this tells me? This tells me that she puts her sex life at a pretty high priority, where she's like constantly want to improve this, you know?
Oh, yeah.
She's dedicated to the craft.
It reminds me of a sport in a way.
Yeah.
Like when you have that type of like team camaraderie between like you and your partner, where you're improving, you're pushing boundaries. It's risky.
Yes.
People could find out.
It's something, man. And I mean, that was fucking crazy, dude. It's interesting though, because you know that exists, but to hear someone just talk about it so candidly, she goes, and then I started puking, and like she was just saying it in like with a very like in a cute way, and it was just
I was gonna say, the second we got on the phone with her, I was so happy. I was like, of course you have like the highest pitch nicest giggle in
she's
the
like,
entire
hey, yeah, no big deal, I like to get fucking rocked in the face. Like, it's like, oh my god. But yeah, I think it's cool like when we do this show and we talk to people who have like these like weird kinks or unique things, whatever, because they're willing to go there and have the conversation. And once you go there, like, I think more people would be into that if they weren't afraid to have the conversation. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure everyone's like into something weird, but they don't want to bring it up. But if they would, it would just make the experience so much better. So think about how great her experience is, because clearly nothing's off limits.
Well, yeah, and I think we've said this in some other episode, but it definitely opens you up for other aspects of your life too, I'm sure. You know, like her ability to talk so openly about this and know what she wants and communicate to her partner, like it makes sense that she can be so open, because physically she's so open to all these things too. It's just like it's got to be freeing, you know?
Yeah, it's got to be freeing to get absolutely slapped in the face.
If you want that,
I know,
it's free.
I know, I'm joking. But no, yeah, it is. Breath play, just learned about that. I'm surprised it took us 9 seasons to get that term out here.
Right.
You know, it took a while to get breath play, but now I just learned what that was.
It just shows you, like, we've been having conversations that fall under the BDSM umbrella since literally we started the show,
and they're all new.
Yeah, it's so varied, it's so diverse, and there's just so many areas within that, and people who are practicing, you know, different versions, their own version, are, you know, more inclined to one thing. So it was cool. Like I said in the beginning, we've touched on this a little. People have mentioned it, but you know, this is someone who just really, really enjoys the pain, and there's like a relatability to it, but it's hard to understand. Like, I'm actually trying to think of the last like real pain that I felt. Like, I don't know if I would enjoy that. Like, pain hurts.
I mean, I wouldn't, because I would consider myself more of a dominant person than a submissive person.
Right.
So I wouldn't want someone to like slap me. I'd be pissed.
Yeah. I'm into it. I think this is where we differ a little, and we've covered this. There's the sex coach episode. I think we're starting to understand each other's BDSM personalities, but yeah, just haven't like discovered the thing.
Right.
It's not the nipples, but there's something out there.
Whoever that was tried. They tried with the nips, tried to milk you, but
It was not my wife. Disclaimer. Because see, this is a weird thing about recording in quarantine too. She's like
In the other room. She's
in the other room.
I'm sure
and I
this
see a
isn't the first
text
time she heard
pop
about
up
the nipples.
when I said that. No, it's the first time. But it was not her. So yeah, she forced me to say that.
Okay. Nice.
But
so
yeah,
this is a premeditated bring up the nipple.
huh?
This is premeditated that you were going to bring up nipples.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I thought of it while we were talking. I was like, what is like the most pain I've experienced during sex? And then I was just like, got these flashbacks of, it wasn't like, it was just a few times,
Was
but
she pinching
yeah,
you from
just
the bottom? She was pinching you from the
just-
bottom?
from all
Wow,
angles.
she was pinching
but,
everywhere. Oh, God. Yeah.
but I didn't know like how to communicate. I didn't even know back then how to communicate that I didn't like that.
Yeah, no, it's awkward. And I don't even know that I can. Like, I've never, like, you've had bad sexual experiences. Everyone has. And at no point have ever been like, hey, this sucks.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, don't do that. Like, I'll just kind of like try to, I don't know. I feel bad being like, this is bad.
Exactly.
And, so someone
But-
pinching my nipples, though, I would have to I would be dying laughing at that point.
I kept it together, but knowing everything I know now and having these conversations, I would have been able to say like, okay, I see what you're going for and I'm into that. Let's move away from this area and let's find something
find a
that
different
suits
area.
both of us. But lesson learned.
We know Gregory's into the biting, so just don't pinch him,
Bite.
bite that boy.
Yep,
Maybe bite his
yep.
nipples.
Okay, this should
All
end
right, well.
now.
Show's off to a hot start. Anyway, for anyone watching, if you want to be a part of the show, you think you have a good story or anything that fits, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. Go to oplshow.com/contact, fill out the form, send us an email, and we will schedule something out if it works out.
Yep, check us out on Instagram at OPL Podcast for the clips, YouTube at youtube.com/otherpeopleslives, and just keep spreading the word. I mean, this season has been so fun so far, and like we're seeing major growth. Like we're shocked right now at what we're seeing, how many new fans. So let's keep growing the community. Shout out to all the patrons there. If you guys want bonus episodes, you can go to patreon.com/OPL show. And thank you as always.
Yep, and that is all. See you guys next time.